You know, this one quote, it just absolutely nails what separates the wealthy from, well, everyone else. It's not about the size of your paycheck. It's about having a smart game plan for the money you've got.
And that's exactly what we're going to do in this explainer. We are pulling back the curtain on the money strategies that the top 1% use. But here's the best part. You don't need a seven-figure income to start using them. Not even close.
At the very heart of it all is a simple, but trust me, incredibly powerful system. 15, 65, 20. I know, it just looks like three numbers on a screen, but this right here, this is the framework that can totally transform your financial life. So what on earth do they mean? Okay, here's our roadmap. First, we're going to unlock the secret behind this whole system. Then we'll break down each number one by one. The 15% you pay yourself, that's 65% for essentials, and the 20% for enjoying life. And then we'll wrap it all up into a blueprint you can actually start using.
Now, here's what's so cool about this. These ideas, they work for everybody. It seriously doesn't matter if you're making 50 grand a year or 500 grand. The logic is exactly the same. It's all about discipline, not the size of your income.
All right, let's dive into the most important part of this entire system, the 15%. This is the big one. The idea is that for every single dollar that comes in, the very first 15 cents gets set aside for you. Not for your bills, not for your landlord, for you. This is where real wealth creation begins.
So this 15%, it's doing two huge jobs for you at the same time. On the one hand, it's building a safety net that gives you incredible peace of mind. And on the other, it becomes the engine that actually creates your long-term wealth. Let's talk about peace of mind first. Think of this as your financial shock absorber. You know life is going to throw curveballs at you. An emergency fund means that a surprise bill is just an annoyance. It's not a full-blown catastrophe that throws you into a panic and forces you into debt. It's your first line of defense.
So how do you actually build one? The key is to start small so you don't get overwhelmed. Just aim for 1 month of your essential expenses. And when I say essential, I mean it. We're talking about the roof over your head, groceries, utilities. We are not talking about your subscriptions or takeout. Once you hit that first goal, then you can start building towards a much stronger cushion of 3 to 6 months.
Now for the second pillar, wealth creation. Okay, check this out, because this slide shows perfectly why when you start investing is so much more important than how much you start with. So you have Janet. She puts in $10,000 just one time when she's 30. By age 50, it's worth over $32,000. Now look at Mike. He invests double that amount, $20,000, but he waits until he's 40. By 50, he has less than Janet. How's that possible?
It's because of this one magical concept. Janet's money had a whole extra decade to grow and compound. Her returns started earning their own returns, and it created this incredible snowball effect. That extra decade made all the difference. It just proves that time is your single greatest asset when it comes to investing.
So how do you actually do it? It is way simpler than you might think. Number one, if your job offers a retirement match, you have to contribute enough to get the full amount. It is literally free money. Don't leave it on the table. Second, use accounts like a Roth IRA or an ISA where your money can grow tax-free. And third, just keep it simple. Pick low-fee index funds that track the market. It's the ultimate set-it-and-forget-it strategy.
All right, let's move on to the next piece of the puzzle. We're now at the 65%. This is the biggest slice of your income, and it's meant for all your core living expenses. You know, the non-negotiables that keep your life running, like your housing, your food, your transportation.
But this 65% has one major enemy: lifestyle creep. You know exactly what I'm talking about. You get a raise at work, and suddenly your old apartment feels a little too small. Or you think, maybe it's time for a new car. Your expenses have this sneaky way of just expanding to eat up your new income, unless you consciously fight back. So, how do you fight back? Well, you have to start by asking yourself one really honest question. Where is my money actually going? Before you can start making smart changes, you gotta know the truth. And for most of us, it boils down to two main things.
Yeah, the data backs this up. For the average person, housing and transportation are the two biggest money pits by a long shot. And here's the big insight. If you can optimize just these two massive categories, even by a little bit, it'll have a much bigger impact than trying to nickel and dime every little coffee you buy.
And creating that breathing room brings us to the final, and maybe my favorite piece of the puzzle, the 20%. Now, this is not just fun money. No. This is a strategic, intentional part of your plan. You should think of it as an investment in you.
Because, let's be real, a financial plan that's all work and no play is a plan that is doomed to fail.
If you're constantly telling yourself no, you're just not going to stick with it. This 20% is your built-in defense against giving up.
And this is the perfect analogy. A super strict, rigid budget is just like a crash diet. Yeah, you might be able to stick with it for a few weeks, but eventually, you're going to break down and binge. But a flexible budget, one that intentionally makes room for fun, that's something you can actually live with for the long haul.
So what does this actually look like? It's giving yourself permission to spend on the things that bring you joy, the things that keep you motivated. It could be that awesome dinner out, the bag you've been wanting forever, or a weekend trip with your friends. It's about enjoying the money you earn without a single drop of guilt. Because guess what? It's part of the plan.
So, we've walked through the 3 core pieces. Now, let's put this whole puzzle together and take a look at the complete financial blueprint.
And here it is, the 15-65-20 system. See how it's not just a budget, it's a truly balanced plan. It forces you to prioritize your future with that 15%, to live responsibly with the 65%, and to build in joy with the 20% so the whole thing actually works. This is how you take back control.
And that brings us to the final and honestly the most important part. Knowing this stuff is great, but doing it is what actually changes your life. So, as we wrap up, the real question is for you. It doesn't have to be some giant, scary leap. What's one small, totally manageable step you can take today to start building your own blueprint?